Shambho Mahadeva. Om Sankalpa. The will. The will. Yes, we had been explaining about the Sankalpa in various perspectives and its importance and its characteristics. The word should not be generalized for a desire or just a requirement of physical and mental desires. Is what we discussed. So then he also says that Maharshi explains about it's all okay. How can I direct my mind again in order to attain that Sankalpa? Ultimately, mind has to attain Sankalpa. How will you do the insertion of that, the supreme thought? That which is not the ordinary flow from the general practice of the karma bhalas is what we have explained. How we can insert that. How will that, suppose the flow of Ganga or the flow of the river is very strong and very arrogant, will any intrusion can surpass that force? No? That's what happens to all of general people. Because the force of the thoughts being flown into the mind based on the karma palas, as far as the mind is concerned, which is an established factor. And it's a constant, continuous flow because there is no obstacle for that. How can I to insert something into that flow? You see. Suppose you take a boat, how can you cross the river in a flow? Principle of boat crossing the river has to be applied here also. How can it flow? It has to flow along with it for some time and gradually take the other side in an angle. No, you cannot cut across that. It's not possible. You understood? It's a very big principle again. Along with the flow you go and then you can cross it. Because the resistance will be less. When you gradually in an angle you take it, start from a different point and you will reach a little further. Is the same thing happens to transform these thoughts into the Sankalpa or insertion of Sankalpa here. One is the chanting of mantras, he said. And that's why in the shloka itself, that mantra inclusion was there. Namirayati namami mantra ekam bhavanti mantreshu karmani. And chanting mantras means what? It is not only, just as I told in the previous class, it's not only chanting mantras. When the mind is somewhere else, the mantras are being chanted. The meaning of the mantras, the purpose of the mantras have to be understood. So what happens? Everything, the mantras have been created in such a way that everything of life, everything for achievement of in life rather, whether it is material achievement or whether it is spiritual achievement, everything has been mentioned in these various mantras. Mantrocharana with the purpose and knowing the purpose, understanding the meaning, is definitely beneficial to insert the Sankalpa in the flow. So what happens? the the resistance in the flow becomes less. When you are chanting the mantras, it goes into the thoughts in the mind, and mind produces these vibrations. Automatically what happens? The thoughts which are constantly, incessantly flowing without any obstacle will get obstructed by the intrusion of the vibrations of these mantras. So the intensity of the flow will get reduced, so the insertion of Sankalpa becomes easier. How do you make a bridge across the river? How do you make a small dam across the river? How do you make it that? So initially you have to put few stones, resistance is there, the flow is slowly diverted to another side, this side becomes empty, so you start building up from one side and gradually go to the other side. The same principle is adopted here also in our thoughts. Right? We are doing it in everyday's life also. When there is a constant thought of sadness, sorrow, or one experience of sorrows or some happiness is going on, you intrude some other incident and some other thoughts and some other discussion. Suppose somebody else come, you start discussing with them, you forget about your thoughts. So what happens? The intensity of the flow of that thought constantly, which is there, which has already been programmed and established, will have a low resistance, at which point of time you will be in a position to insert the Sankalpa. Clear? Is it not? We are all doing that. Otherwise, how will you get consoled from the sadness? How will you get comforted from the sadness or from the thoughts that you are undergoing at that point of time? It's only like this. So, one of the methods the Maharishis, Tapasvi, here the Devrishi Maharishi suggests is that Mantrocharana. Why? Because since we are speaking of Upanishad and we are speaking of the Brahma Sakshatkara, so automatically what happens? It's also connected to the mantras are very well designed for the purpose of the creation of vibrations in the mind and body, as well as once you know the meaning of the mantra also, the purpose of the mantra, purpose and the meaning, both goes together, you see. What happens is that the flow of thoughts can be resisted or even stopped. It has got those powers. That is how Manana Trayate iti mantraha, the mind constantly, when it is producing, it stops receiving the flow, the normal flow, and it starts attending to this. The flow is resisted. At that point of time, insertion of Sankalpa is easier. Very clear. It's a very practical approach to that, you see. And it is being done. It's not that it is not being done. He's not telling something different. Because it is not done by you. It is a natural phenomena of the mind. That's all. Yes. It is happening. In whether it is materialistic experiences or spiritualistic experiences. Why? Because the Sankalpa is the will. That's why the will. So what is that? The will to insert also happens. The will to change. What is insertion? Insertion is the word I have used. It is nowhere in the Upanishad you will find. It's only for us to make us understand the language. That's all, you see. Otherwise, you won't find it anywhere. Now, here what happens is that the will to change your mind, the will to change the adaptability in the mind, the will to change the usual unintentional flow of thoughts into the intentional flow of thoughts. Now, who intends? Again, the mind intends. Why the mind is intending? Why? Because due to change in the vibrational frequencies, how the mind is intending? Why do you intend to go to a temple instead of to a movie? Because I want you to understand how the mind intends. I know you all know the meaning. But will it be satisfying your logical ego self? No. Suppose there is a temple and there is a movie, very interesting movie. Another side, Arati is going on. Your mind intends either go to movie or goes to the Arati, whichever it is. How does the mind intend? How does the mind, it's not a previous experience. It has nothing connected because there is a flow of thought is still going on. That's not that it is impeded there anyway. But how will you intend? That means what I am trying to tell you. How will you stop the flow and make it possible for the insertion of Sankalpa? That's called intention, intent. How the mind intends to change. No, I don't want to go to that show. What is there after all? This is important to me. Priorities. How the mind creates the priority. Somebody said, usme kya hai bhai? Every day it is happening. Movie is only for a week. Friday it will change. Better to see it on Friday. Here you can come Saturday also because Pujari is free. He will do Arati every day. Is one version. So, the mind intends to go to the movie. Another says, let the movie come and go. How does it matter to me? For me, I find this much peaceful, much better. You go there, I am going here. How these two minds are intending two different things? Or your own mind intending two different things? Based on the vibrational frequencies it has created, the mind has perceived in whichever level of thought the mind is, in whichever vibrational frequency the mind is, it decides according to those experiences. That means the mind would like to experience the movie, the mind would like to experience the Arti. This both, one of them is based on the mind's characteristics. You see? The mind's characteristic. What do I mean by mind's characteristic? Mind characteristic is that based on the incessant flow of experiences, what happens is that, as I told you, that due to karma phala, again there is a karma phala involved there. One reason, there is not only never, see, the changes or transformation doesn't take only because of one reason. No, it's a combination of various reasons. So, one is based on the karma phala, karmas, it's undergoing. Second is that the practices you have put in from the childhood or from the recent past, the experiences. Third is that your comfort and discomfort that's happening to the mind, this is the way it is. That means your experience of vairagya, your experience of renunciation that happens because of the, again it is because of the experience. The person who had experienced, that is why in Vardhakya, the vairagya is very, very easy. No. Because he had experienced the whole life. This is nothing. You see. He has understood it is nothing. You see. Better to do vairagya. See. Better to have that renunciation. But the same experience of that person who has experienced and found that is nothing is not there in a person who is 20 years old. I'm generally telling, it's not necessary. The old age is not a barrier. I'm just telling for the sake of comparison here the age. Otherwise, even 20 years also, one can have the renunciation. It's not that. I'm just for the purpose of discussing, we are telling the age. So the one who has experienced, let me say, the one who has experienced, it is easier for him to renounce. The one who has got less experience, it is difficult for him to renounce. Why? Because what to renounce, he has to experience. So either he has to go through the process of living through and through, or he has to learn about the living and understand what is living. There are two kinds of people. One need not to experience it, one can understand it. So many things we do also same way. So either of this, one who decides to the renunciation. In the case of such renunciation, capability of renunciation, the mind is ready for acceptance. There what happens? It chooses that what is necessary for a spiritual development. Another mind which is not experienced, which is still in the fascination of attachment and attraction, decides for going for a play. Yes. Another going for an experience of Arati. Just telling Arati. I just came to my mind, I don't know. Any other example can be put there. Yes. Spiritual experience, what I am trying to tell you. One is on the spiritual experience, another is on a material side experience. Okay. This, what did I say? How the mind intends. How the mind becomes ready for an intention is what I am trying to tell you. How the mind intends. This way, the mind intends. How the mind has undergone the experiences and has understood, because an intention can, when can a proper intention, sankalpa, proper intention or determination can take place? Once he is sure of that. You see, I am sure that path is not right. I am sure this path is right. Not blindly, based on the facts and figures. That is why Sankhya Yoga, they said. Calculation, mathematics. Without mathematics, there is no experiencing. Without mathematics, there is no progress. Without mathematics, there is no innovation. Everything is based on Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga, in the sense, it's not 2 plus 2, 4. Well, it's a firm conviction that this experience has this result. I don't know whether you remember, I have told years before when I was taking a class in our Granths, even in Garuda Puran, some portion of Garuda Puran, and some other Upanishads and Granths also mention, some of the Upanishads also mentions which karma produces what result. Do you remember? I have told this. Which karma produces what result, and based on the result, the execution of karma has to be done. Okay, now you will be wondering, let us somehow look for that Upanishad and please bring it. Don't read all these things. Read us only that Upanishad and end it. Please keep quiet. Is what you want to tell me. No. Fine. Suppose we found out. Suppose we read. Will you do only that karmas? Suppose I will tell your mind not to the show, only go to the Arati. Now, this has become a problem. It was better that not to tell him to read that Upanishad. Is it not? You might go to the Arati because it was told in the Upanishad, but in the mind with the guilt and conscious guilt, you see, that I should have gone there, but without this, if I go there, something else would happen. Now what happened? You have multiplied the karma phalas by not going there. Better to go there and finish it off. Next time go to the Arati. Going to the Arati expecting that a cabaret is going on inside the inside that what is it, sanctum sanctorum, he is highly misappropriate to the mind. You see, contradiction to the mind. No, so you can imagine what sort of karma bhala you will be creating in that. You see, you understood, right? Yeah. So even by reading that, it will not happen. It's a guideline. It is meant for the saints and sannyasis to guide others, not to just publicly read it and tell them to do that, you see, because nobody will do it. No one will do it. Forget about that. Are we doing this? What we are learning here? Even smallest things are we doing? Have you? No. Everything we would like to explain. Don't tell lies. Let me experience what will happen if I tell a lie. See, these are big principles. Then immediately he will say, because he has read Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagavan Krishna has told lie. What is it? I can also tell lie. You know? He can give enough examples. He is a thief, he is a liar, he is cheat. Everything is. He will immediately put those examples because justification. Now, mind, which is looking for the justifications in order to execute a particular karma, will you be in a position to create an intent, an intention to that mind to do that? No. This need. Then what happens? So there somebody said, this need maturity, they said. What is it? Now did I tell you about the Vardhakya? In Vardhakya what happens? The maturity, for some people, not all, for some in Vardhakya also somebody is like others only. No. Vardhakya, some people, Vardhakya in the sense not by age I am talking, by knowledge one who reaches the Vardhakya, what happens? His intention will be perfect, his decision making will be perfect. Why? Because he is able to identify and understood the experiences that has happened, and from that, whatever results that has happened and experienced out of it, he says zero. None of them create. So for him, the renunciation is much easier. Any mind who has reached the status of Vardhakya, I am not putting not Vardhakya of the Sharira, not Vardhakya of the Janma, after Janma, so many years of old, no. Any mind who has reached, any consciousness who has reached the status of the Vardhakya, that means learned, has experienced, for that mind, it is easy for the creation of the renunciation. And when such a renunciation takes place, an intention can be easily inserted. Yes? And at that point of time, the intention will be what? The intention will be absolutely based on the Brahmajnanam and Brahma Sakshatkara. That intention will not be different. Here the intention makes it. Intention is intent of the mind, will be a firm characteristics in order to have an absolute transformation, in order to attain the absolute Brahman. It won't be a temporary desire in order to attain some material. That will not be called as an intent or an intention. An intention is that, intention should be that which is with a firm conviction that it is not changeable. It is satyam. It is not changeable. That which is changeable can be a desire, not intention. That which is changeable can be a desire. A desire is also a milder form of intention. You are inserting the desire into the mind, and when it is achieved, that desire is fulfilled. So the intent, whereas the intention is concerned, I am talking about the agitation of the mind has to be totally released and relieved and stopped by an intention. So with an intention, the insertion of the Sankalpa becomes easier and also meant for the absolute transformation. This is how the intending takes place. Okay, so for that, various methods have been suggested. Mantrocharana is one of them. So that in mantras, various meanings are there, various things are there. So mantrocharana with the particular, for a particular purpose, particular time, and creating certain vibrations can help you. One of the methods, it's a combination of various methods. Only mantrocharana. Will it happen? No. It has limitations. So, You have to go beyond mantrocharana. Mantrocharanam. Understanding the scriptures, tapasya, upasana, nitidhyasana, and samarpana. When you do the samarpana, what happens? A permanent and absolute intention can be created by the mind. There is no doubt to the mind. Why? Because the mind's normal activities, which is influenced by the ideals and ideologies and the experiences of the indriyas, will not be there or will not be entertained by the mana. On the other hand, the mind will in turn direct the indriyas in order to experience the spirituality through that. So, when such a case takes place, an intention becomes easier. In normal conditions, you take a flower and take a fragrance, you all will have the same fragrance. Same fragrance because same flower. It's an intentional reporting by the indriya to the mana. As far as the object is concerned, this is the fragrance this flower has got. This is identified. Mind goes according to that. Whereas when you take an initiation, or when you do tapasya, or when you are in the presence of a guru or a tapasvi or in an ashram, you get a fragrance. Is it not? Some people get a fragrance. Some people listen certain things, the shrutis. Some people see something. Some people feel that. Indriyas, what happens? The mind which is there, which has already changed its vibrational frequencies towards the spirituality, this gives the transmission of informations to the indriyas, and indriyas start feeling the presence of that spiritual experiences in the objective experience. Is why you are getting those things. Without any fragrance, without any intentional objective fragrance, created fragrance by you, sometimes we get a fragrance. Sometimes you feel relieved and relaxed. Sometimes you see something, sometimes you hear something. All these things happens. The indriyas functioning based on the informations from the mind, not the objective experience, on the reverse to the mana, and mana acts on that. Now you see, the activities have become different. So there is no independence to the indriyas in order to act according to its own whims and fancies, where it is creating the desires. You see, that's why the materialistic way of approaching in the life, what is there today in Kali Yuga, it is the approach to the life is through materialistic way of living. Maharishis and tapasvis could also create diamonds and aeroplanes, and as I told you earlier, they could create anything and everything. It's not that it was not possible. They could create machines, they could create anything that mattered. Because if the thought can create so many things, they also could. Why? Ravana's father, Vishrava, could create diamonds in 42 days' time. Different types of diamonds in his ashram. That's all. With certain chanting of mantras, with certain process, he could create diamonds. Now imagine if we can know that creating a minor, what happens? Vishnava did not use it for the purpose, he used it for the purpose of experimentation, that yes, it can be done. Now if the same knowledge is transmitted to today's world, they will use it for materialistic progress. What will happen? Only destruction will happen. Is why, what I am trying to tell you is why you may question, or we may question, we used to question. The Tapasvis and Maharishis said that materialistic development should be stalled. because there will be no progress, there will be only destruction, and there is no end in the materialistic progress. From the diamond, it will go to something, it will keep on experimenting. Finally, to understand the spirituality is good, but by the time you are far away only in traveling through the materialism is why the Maharishis and Tapasvis did not encourage or did not teach, did not encourage, did not process the materialistic creation and development of the world at that point of time. You see? Mantras, the 4 Vedas of voluminous slokas was read, or through the third eye chakra, the Tapasvi or the Maharishi or the Guru transmitted to disciple, and disciple has got it in the memory, in the chittam. In the chittam, all the Vedas. They don't need anything else. This is there. It's already there. It's not by hearting, you see. In order to by heart, there has to be a heart. The one who has done bypass, he cannot by heart. Because bypass. So by hearting is not that, This is the chitta itself is that knowledge. Knowledge is not learned, knowledge is absorbed, perceived. Absolutely right. Knowledge is perceived, it's not the word knowledge. When I'm talking about this, suddenly my mind goes somewhere else. Once what happened, Vedavyasa was going to a sabha to meet Bhagavan Shiv or somebody. I just told Bhagavan Shiv. Somebody. So Vedavyasa, he had his shawl wrapped, and then put it on that. He was walking through those small path. Suddenly the end of his shawl got caught in a thorn of a small plant by the side. It happened while you were walking. And it naturally when he walked, it pulled. When it pulled, suddenly he heard a voice. Oh, these people don't have eyes. How much of suffering I have. Is what he heard. He heard. Suddenly he stopped, turned back, and took that shawl out of that thorn and found there was a very small insect. It was crushed naturally, by pull of this shawl. It got crushed there. So he got pain. So it spoke that it is so painful to me. So Bhagavan, Vedavyasa, turned back and folded hands, asked pardon from him. See, it was a mistake. I know it has been done. It was not intentional. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was careless. From now I will be careful. I will tuck the ends of my shawl properly so that nobody gets hurt out of it. He could do that. Now it's not a story. It's not a story. Now you will wonder, how did he hear that? How will he spoke? That's why I said it's not a story. When a person has got Brahma Sakshatkaram, and I spoke about something about understanding, perceiving and things like that. No, it is not through any language, So both have got the universal language. The expression is an energy and a vibration. When this expression of energy and vibration could be perceived by Vedavyasa immediately because of his high meditative powers, he also is a part of the world. When he is a part of the universe, he is also a part of this insect, or the insect is a part of Vedavyasa. Both. Because it becomes Advaita Siddhanta, according to Advaita, it becomes one. So the pain that he felt has to be felt by him also. Yes. So he could do that, and immediately he turned back and said pardon to that. That means not violating the rules of the the Prakriti, whichever part of the Prakriti is disturbed by me, I should correct it. A mistake can happen, but I should immediately correct it. This correction is that pardon, asking for the pardon. The moment the insect have understood this and felt it, he said, it is okay. I felt pain, so I told you, it's all right, I am better now, I am okay now. The moment that says I am okay, the Prakriti has regained the balance. When the waves come, the boat has gone like this, and the intensity of wave gone down, the boat has become stable. Same way, in every movement of the Prakriti, there is a disturbance. So what happens? There is a disorientation in the Prakriti. When that disorientation is corrected even by an insect, what happened? The balancing of the Prakriti takes place. Now do you remember I have told that when people used to ask permission from a dried, almost dying tree, can I use it? It's not that you should not do it, it will fall down one day. Can I take your sharira for making something useful? Because he says, okay. Within 24 hours to 48 hours time, and ask for the birds also, they will go for the shelter, they will have to ask them, do puja, they are given 3 days time. You don't have to tell you, I am giving you 3 days time. Now today, like today, evacuating the houses, 3 days notice period. Otherwise I will bring forceful evacuation. There is no forceful evacuation in Prakriti. Yeah, it's left. What is it? Prakriti Niyama. He has been decent to the Prakriti. Prakriti has obeyed to that. So the balance is kept. Without doing that, if I do it, I am creating disbalance to the Prakriti. Immediately, the climatical conditions will change. If you cut too many trees, what happens? Rains affected or something else affected. See. The trees grow on the earth. Okay. I know you all know it, but you see how beautiful the Prakriti is, how we should be. This is what I said, that how will we behave like this is what I am asking. Same question I have asked. The trees are growing in the tree, on the earth. He is initially taking the necessities from the earth, manure, to grow. Once he becomes capable, what happens? He gives the manure to the earth. What is that? The leaves are fallen down and they make themselves. According to its capacity, it gives the composite, it gives the manure to the ground. See? Reciprocative arrangement to the Prakriti and the self in order to make, for what? Because the tree wants to be a part of the Prakriti. So whatever happens to the nature, the tree understands. What we don't understand, the tree, the birds, the animals, they all understand what we don't understand. A tsunami or even an intensity of the storm coming 10 hours later is known to some of the birds, insects and the monkeys 10 hours before, and they leave the place and go to the safety. And they know where would be the safety. Today, even with the instruments, you are unable to understand. Now tell me. Am I right? It's all known to us. It's not that. I'm making you conscious of it. See how Prakriti Niyama, which has been created by Ashtavasus. Yesterday I was talking about the Ashtavasus, who are the creator of the Niyama. How this beautiful Prakriti Niyama has been created. When that Prakriti Niyama is created and followed according to that, why did I tell all this? Doesn't need a paper and pen in order to write the Vedas that is being instructed by the Guru. It will automatically go into your chitta and memory. Because both from the nature, Prakriti Niyama, there is no violation of the Prakriti Niyama. There is no violation of the rule or the discipline of the nature. When it becomes one, that's why becoming one with that. So when you become one with the Guru, when you one Upasana through Upasana, Nididhyasana, the knowledge that is being transmitted becomes automatically, it comes to you. I told you hundreds of times this Adi Shankaracharya's to Todaga Acharya, how he transmitted this. Why? Because both were following the same medium to live in the society, live in the Prakriti, the nature. When it is in the same medium, what third medium has no importance to that. One need not to read and one need not to write. It becomes straight away, that's all. A third medium has no place there. First of all, it's not necessary. Am I right? Are you getting it? So I'm just telling about the mind's nature, but I just went away a little higher on that. But this is how the sannyasa becomes easier. A person who understands all these things, now you tell me, a person who really has understood all this, will he like to live in a normal, ordinary, materialistic life, just like that? No. Because it is not at all necessary. It's never-ending process of desires and fulfillment, desires and fulfillment, desires and fulfillment. Or desires for fulfillment. No fulfillment, desires for fulfillment. Am I right? A saturation, what did I say? Saturation point has to come. And Vardhakya Avastha, saturation point comes. What is saturation point? It has to be saturated. Then only a saturation point has to come. No? It has to be saturated. When will be saturated by the experiences? Saturated by the karma balas, either by going through that or by inference, identifying and understanding and establishing the fact and having faith on that and absolutely following that is necessary. Otherwise, this transformation or transformation or a layam is not possible. Merging, layam, unless it is done. The purpose of doing all these things is that learning all these things, it makes our mind easier to meditate and establish the factor that in order to create an insertion of Sankalpa into it, this knowledge helps. So one is mantra, Ucharanam. So Ucharanam is not enough. Tapasya is necessary. Knowledge is necessary, then Tapasya is necessary. Jnanam. So in this Jnanam, what happens? One realizes, after realization of this Jnanam, it becomes easier for one to do the Tapasya. Tapasya is for what? Establishing the factor of that what I have learnt and to renounce everything, including that I have learnt. If that remains in you, it is also a possession. Let's see. There should be no physical possession with you. Of course, it's unnecessary qualification. Is it not? Physical possession? No. I think possession is good enough. But I qualified it, that's all. Both are. There is no increasing the intensity. Possession is possession, that's all. Whether it is physical possession, there is nothing other than physical possession. So how to qualify physical possession? But certain words are giving importance to qualifications by adding an unwanted qualification to it, unwanted quality to that, preposition to that. Like we normally use. When I say, you will wonder. What is very good? What is very good and good? How do you classify it is very good and good? Tell me honestly, not for argument's sake, honestly tell me. When you eat the food, good, is it not? Because I am expressing an unwanted qualification to impress upon you that is, it is good to me. I am finding it good. This very has, otherwise, is there literally any meaning to that very? Very good. Superlative degree. We call that, see, what is it? Superlative. Which is not true. That's why superlative. Very good has no meaning. Very bad. No, bad is bad only. Very bad kya hai? Mar gaya. No. Dead. Very bad. Very bad. Bad or very bad? Bad is bad. Death. Finished. Eh? Eh? What is this very bad and very good? Argue, one can argue, okay. So, but what happens? It's a practice. That's what's only same way. Physical possession, I said, that's why I had to give all this clarification. Physical possession in the sense that you intentionally, what I mean by physical possession is it, but what you intentionally possessed, thinking that it will give pleasure to your physical body and mind, is called a physical possession. In other words, when you attain the spirituality, it is also a possession. Knowledge is a possession. That possession also has to be released, renounced at one point of time. So possession has to be, in general, possession has to be renounced. Anything is possessed. If there is a possession, there should be a possessor. So long there is a possessor, the possession process will continue. So long the possessor and possession is available, that which is beyond possession cannot be attained. Because he has to renounce the possession and possessed. That's how it is happening. Okay, now what I said, like Vedavyasa, could identify and understood the nature and could understand, it's not the language. XY not the words, not the language, nothing. Yeah, that's how one can understand what the birds are speaking. In Puranas you will read that, two birds were flying and one was telling that this Raja will be killed when he reaches there. One understands that, birds' language and things like that, because they are all one with the nature, When you are one with the nature, you will be in a position to understand. Have you even noticed? Let us forget about it. Even if you don't have a training also, but you should have an intention to do it, because I do it quite often, honestly speaking. Not to just impress upon you. Please believe me. When I walk in the morning, what happens? Sometimes birds chirp, certain birds chirp from here. Some sound comes from here. Sometimes I feel that one is, little pain or is crying or unable to do what you want. You won't believe, I practically stand there and turn back. You will find that you may tell that I don't know if it is right, but this is what I do. I turn back and stand there and tell them, what happened to you? Why are you crying? Don't worry, you will be all right. Or it will be okay. You won't believe. You won't hear a cry after that. I'm not exaggerating. You not me. You experiment it. But you have to listen. No? You have to listen and identify what is the difference between that chirping and this chirping. One is very practically getting up and come on, ready, we have to go, it is time, pack up, we have to fly wrong way, is one telling. Just saying that, is it? Another is saying that, look, I am unable to do it because I am got pain here, something like that. You can identify these two sounds separately. You can do it. Anybody who is concentrating can do it. We only normally don't do it, we just walk, some birds are chirping, different sounds are coming, so we just go by that. You please attend it. Next time you try, you will do it. Same thing, you will do it. It is possible. Because we are all of that inherent nature of the same. There is no difference. Only thing we have to involve ourselves in that. So I turn back and tell them, okay, no. Why are you doing this? Even dogs I do. When you drive, what happens, in this corner there is a milk booth fellow in the footpath. Because the milk spills, few dogs get collected there to lick that and take it, because normally you will find them on the footpath. Any vehicle going there, they think that, they are intruding their area, so they will start barking at you. They come to it. So I tell them, "Arey, why are you barking unnecessarily? I have not come to take your milk. Go away, go. Arey, jao na." It will immediately turn back and go. You try this, you will experience it. I am not exaggerating. You can do it also. Everybody can do it. You understood now? No language is necessary. It's a transmission sincerely from these vibrations, or what we call it as the understanding, one with the Prakriti, one with the nature. You have to feel it. Not just for the sake of, let me try all this. Fellow has told in the class, let me try whether the chirping. Hey, why are you crying? It will cry more. Useless. Already I am having pain. You have to feel. You have to feel one with it. Do it. Normal practice, anybody for that matter. Forget about Tapo Shakti is not necessary for that. Anybody can do it. This one. So what I am trying to tell you is that the mind has to reach that state. We do it temporarily. Every one of us, temporarily we bring the mind into saturation point at one point or other. And at that point of time, we are at a very high level, actually. But unfortunately, we are unable to hold that level. Why? Because this doesn't happen to us consciously. It happens. That's all. Because that is the nature of the mind and Prakriti. But when you do it consciously, you can stay in that position forever. When you stay in that position forever, what happens? You become one with the Prakriti. Then your mantras, your vani, your understanding, chittam, everything will become saturated in order to identify and understand the Brahma Sakshatkaram and Brahma Jnanam. Once it happens, what happens? You are into the flow of the spirituality. Then you are able to do that. So, you understood this Sankalpa. So, then it is easy to. So, insertion, even though I spoke about insertion in the last class, I explained the basics there. This is the true technicality of it. Otherwise, a simple physical insertion cannot be done. You have to stop the flow of it. In order to get rid of it, karma mukti has to be attained again. So everything is, it's a process of everything assembled together. So this requires the jnanam. When this jnanam is obtained, what happens? The stability of the mind attains. Then whether it is mantrocharana or not ucharana, it is okay. Mantrocharana is one of the ways. Vedavyasa, how many mantras did he chant every day? I do not know. Because he is otherwise also, he is very busy. Doing tapasya, doing writing, doing understanding, doing this, doing that. Because for him, these initial stages are not necessary. Because he has already reached a particular status. So he suggests the others, mantrocharana. So he says, namami mantra ekam bhavanti. Namami mantra ekam bhavanti. Ekam bhavati, one with the, that, whatever it is. Mantrayeshu karmani. So he says, so the actions which lead to specific results and consequent experiences in life are all rooted in the hints given in the mantras themselves, which are specified modes of expression of speech, which again is rooted in the mind, which in turn is directed by the will, the creative intelligence. Here, Maharishi is also telling that it's a creative intelligence, the will. It's a creative intelligence. Creativity. Huh? Creativity is not used here in spirituality for destruction. When we mean creativity, means creating something for the good of the universe is called creativity. So the creativity should be there. Today's word creativity has been misused in many places, even for creating a weapon to kill is also a creativity has been identified. Even though technically you can say it is a creativity, creativity is not finding something new alone, finding something new for the purpose of the ecological balance of the universe and the earth. For the balance of the nature, Prakriti, balance of everything, you see. In every Bhuta, that's why the Panchabhutas, the controller of Panchabhutas, the one who is able to do the control of the Panchabhutas, he should have the Nigraha, the Indriya Nigraha has to be there, Mana Nigraha has to be there, Ekagrata has to be there, and Ekachitta has to be there, and with this we will be in a position to be one with the Bhutas. The one who is one with the Bhutas is in a position to control the Panchabhutas. Even when the storm comes, with this Panchabhuta inside him, evoking that, he can show like this and stop the storm. This is called the creative intelligence. Intelligence is meant only for the creativity. So creative intelligence, again a qualification which is superlative, you see. Okay. So, the differentiating character is the will hidden in the will behind the will to be, the will to live, the will to exist. Distinguishes the will to exist. The will to maintain the individuality is the power which distinguishes one element from the other. Otherwise, there would be merger of all elements and one element would not be different from the other. So, in order to identification of these elements, the bhutas, tattvas, differently, this creative intelligence or the will is necessary, then only this can be identified. Creation, will to do something, will to live. He doesn't have a will to sustain, survive. All these things we say. These are words we normally use. That means the will has to be there. The will to live has to be there. Then only he can live. So will to live in the sense that normally what happens, the mind, because of the bad experiences, the mind gives it up and says that I am fed up now. I want this sharira to die. Suppose the mind says that. So we say there has to be, if there is will to live, he can live. Now how the will can come? The will can come only by, at that point of time, if the mind is turned towards the spirituality. Spirituality in the sense, to turn towards the fact, the truth. What is called spirituality? What is spirituality? The spirit, the function of the spirit is spirituality. What is the function of the spirit? That which is permanent, that which is not changeable, that which is the truth. So when the mind turns its assertion towards the truth, what happened? It possesses the knowledge from the truth, automatically the will to live will come. Because it then, what happens? The mind doesn't blame the mind. He is not guilty of, because of this is happening. In order to remove the guilt, in order to remove the misconception of the mind, and accept the fact of the truth of the universe, accept the fact of the truth of the Brahma Tattva, Brahma Jnanam, Once it attains that, the will to live will be there, because living then will not be for fulfillment of desires and attractions and attachment according to the emotional background, whereas then living will be according to the requirement of the prakriti or nature or fulfillment of the karmas. Is how the will is created to live. So will for living. That's how the people do the counseling to create the will in them. See, you are still young, or you still have all these responsibilities left behind. You are capable of doing it. You should have your will, you should have your intention to survive. Don't give up like that. So don't give up, you do this, you do this. No, so what is that? You are trying to make others' mind understand that look, you have these capacities, evoke those capacities within you, and attain that is what we are trying to do. It's called creating a will. That's called the will. Will to live, will to exist, will to do all these things. So you yourself can do it, but you can do it when you are in the practice of this mantras, jnanam, tapasya, upasana, nitityasana. Nobody has to advise you, nor you need any advice. Your mind automatically takes a decision. Like Rajas, I always pointed this example to many situations. Maharajas, once time comes, they hand over the kingdom to the king, the son, or the next adhikari, and he leaves for Vanaprastha without any reluctance. Today, will anybody do? Tell me. How those Rajas, they are Raja Rishis, That's why those Rajas are true Rajas. They ruled the country, the kingdom, based on the principles of the spirituality, not based on the principles of the human-made norms. No. That is why they are able to detach within 24 hours. He is out from there. How can he disconnect himself from that? Great wealth, great attachment, great importance, great name, great fame. Even enemies will be shivering, listening to that man's name. When he comes to the war, he can be, such a great soldier, things like that. All he renounces within a fraction of a second. He takes a decision, I am off. How this mind, what I'm trying, see, these examples will help for making you establishing the mind. You see. How could he do this within a fraction of a second? How could he change his mind who was, it's not that he was adapted to all these facilities. He was adapted to all these luxuries. He was adapted to all these, procedures and processes which he could resign with fraction of a second. It's not an emotional decision. No. It's not an emotional decision. It's a spiritual decision. That's why we had, most of the kings were Deva Rishis, Raja Rishis. They live in this spirituality. They had certain principles. Rajas lived for the purpose of the praja. That is why Raja Ram had to send his wife away when she was pregnant to the forest, only for praja samrakshanam, because there were different opinions in praja. So the dharma of Raja Dharma is different, normal dharma is different. In Raja Dharma is that priority should be given to the praja, is why they have kept you as a Raja. Personal importance doesn't affect as a karma as far as dharma is concerned there. His dharma is to listen to the praja first, then only the personal belongings. So when there is a displeasure in the praja dharma, in order to maintain the praja dharma, which is the Raja dharma, he has to immediately take a decision. Fine. Sita has to go. Finished. How could he do that? Again, because they are not attached and attracted to Raja's position or Raja's luxuries or the Raja's activities. They are the spiritual content. They are the spiritual, that the mind is already stable in the knowledge of the spirituality. So they could immediately insert this Sankalpa without any problem and hesitation in a fraction of a second and take the right decision. Similarly, in our life also, when this will is there, we will be in a position to take the right decision. We will not take emotional decision. Today, you are a slave to your emotions. You are a slave to your attachments. You are a slave to your desires. You are a slave practically. Not only that, you are. It's not that you are. Desiring. You are doing this. You are doing this. No, those stages have gone. Today it is only slavery. Nothing other than that. This has to come out. So Bhagavan says, there is nothing in this world, in all creation, which is free from the self-assertive will, the self-determining power. Every anu, every paramanu, as I always told from the beginning, do you remember? In the evolution that takes place, it's all by themselves. Every cell grows by itself, multiplies by itself, destroys by itself. Every paramanu, every atom, every anu, paramanu, matra, tanmatra, everything has got its own self-assertiveness in which the momentum is taking place, in which the transformation is taking place, in which the incidents are taking place, in which the identifications are taking place. That inertia, once it goes, the inertia automatically makes it keeps on rotating. Yes. Once you turn it, then keeps on going like that inertia is there. This inertia is known as the determining willpower that is there in every Atma. Since each and every molecule has got that characteristic, automatically the prana has got the same characteristic, automatically the Atma has got the same characteristics, and automatically the Jivatma has the same characteristics. Even the Mana has got the same characteristics. In everything, there is a self-assertive, determining power is always there. Only thing we have to recognize it and imply and apply. Am I right? Many times it happens to us. The will tells you, the Atma tells you, the mind tells you, this is right, this is wrong. But your emotion, your ignorance, your attachment, your ignorance, everything is ignorance only, you reject it. No, I don't think, why I am feeling like that, I don't think, maybe something like that, let me do this, land in trouble, that's all. So the asserting power goes to deserting power. Anything that asserts itself in a particular manner is called will. Anything that asserts in a particular manner, asserts in a particular manner is called will. Ascertaining, asserts, ascertainment. Everything comes from that. Ascertaining a decision. Ascertaining means judging. Judging. Ascertaining a matter from something. There's a complicated matter from there. Ascertaining the fact from that. This requires the will. That's called the jnana. Otherwise what happens? You will flow along with the emotional, dissatisfied, undetermined decisions by that. Whereas ascertaining is that by a determined decisions by that. Going by that. So self-ascertaining, determining power. Self-ascertaining, self-determining power. Self-determining power is ascertaining. Assertion. The self-assertive nature is found in every action of creation. In every action of creation, there will be self-ascertaining. When the wind blows, that's the end of it. Who flies by that, whether buildings are falling down or trees are falling down, not bothered. I will blow, that's all. The wind says I will blow. self-ascertaining power. Rains heavy and becoming flood, people are dying. Impossible. It keeps on raining, that's all. In nature, everything has got self-ascertaining power. The leaves come in spring and then leaves fall down after summer. In winter, it all falls down. Self-ascertaining power. It's a normal phenomena. We call it as natural phenomena. It will have to happen. Nobody can stop it. Everything has got self-ascertaining power. Each and every insect has got its own self-ascertaining power. Each and every cow has got self-ascertaining power. Every animal, every insect, every jiva, every atma. Only thing one has to identify it. See, analyze it. Only human being is the one who doesn't do it because he has got the power of thinking. He's got a faculty of power of thinking, so he is eligible to violate it in order to find the experiences differently, so that he can purify himself better. A cow in your house, you give water and grass and everything every day, touch every day, talk to every day. How does this love between you and that cow or the animal, whichever animal, dog, cat, cow, any animal, even tigers, even lions, or any animal, monkeys, any animal, how do you develop that? How does it happen? Because both have got the self-ascertaining power. The cow knows this person. With the power of self-ascertainment, the self-determination, self-ascertainment, the cow identifies he is a friend. When a new person comes and tries to be friendly, Lord, immediately it will shake. No? Won't allow you to touch. Others will easily go and it will quietly sit. You touch. And when I said about the cows and bulls, you have to touch the hump, This hump is marmasthal actually. When you clockwise, when you touch clockwise, not anti-clockwise, that means like this. When you touch clockwise, it gives absolute comfort, and then the information that is there in your palm will be transmitted to them. They can easily identify your vibration, that friendliness immediately, it will accept it. An enemy, friend and foe can be identified. This assertive nature is found in every atom of creation, whether it is water, air, wind, anything for that matter. The whole world, therefore, is rooted in the will. Yes. The world is still will. The world is will in generality as well as particularity. When it becomes too general, as in the will of God, then he becomes the God. For instance, it is not the content of our mind, however, the will is behind everything. This we have explained yesterday, before yesterday's class, previous class. It's not in the mind, it is, even though it's an assimilation of mind, but it is beyond mind again. Right, so therefore, Devrishi Narada is instructed that higher than the mind, there is the will, and he should direct his meditation on contemplation to the extent to which his will can reach. So, we have explained about all these things about the will. Then Devrishi Narada finally have understood what he has spoken with great regard and with great bhakti. Bhagavan Narada request, Sankalpam brahmedi upasate. He said, upasate asti. Bhagavan, Devarshi says, Hey Bhagavan, Sankalpat bhuya iti. Sankalpat vava bhuyo stiti. Tanme Bhagavan brevitviti. Now you understood. Brevitviti means, please, by your grace, will you please express it through your Vani? What? That what is Bhuyo Sthiti? Tanme. What is that? Beyond. Now is there anything above, more than the will? Bhagavan says yes. Oh, Maharshi Sanat Kumara said, yes, surely there is something more than this will, says Bhagavan Sanat Kumara. Then, but what is that? Hey Bhagavan, may I listen to it? Hey great master, please instruct me further. This I liked, this word, How beautiful he said, not that tell. Huh? Can you tell me? You can even tell me over phone, doesn't matter. If not, you can send me a mail. The Bruyat. So, tell me further. Please instruct me further, Bhagavan. Instruct me. Ajna. Ajna. Give that Ajna to me. Beyond will request are there. We go to section 5. The next chapter says, what is beyond will? Sankalpam, what is beyond the Sankalpam? Bhagavan says, chittam vaya sankalpat bhuyo yada vai chetayate yatha sankalpyate yatha manasatyata vachami rayati vamo namni rayati namni mantrayekam bhavanti mantreshu karmani. Chittam vava. Chittam, it has been told as, somebody said it is, intelligence indeed is greater than the will. Chittam. Somebody said it is not, Chittam means, it is the power of understanding. The power of understanding is Chittam. Chittam is also told as intelligence. Well, ultimately, unless the power of understanding is there, the intelligence also doesn't come. So, it goes one by one together, I think. When one understands, then only he wills. Then he thinks. Chete yatata sankalpayate manasyatyata. Then only he thinks. Manasatyata. Vajamirayati. Then only speech will come. Then only the namni rati mantraha. The nama upasana will come. So he has covered everything. If the understanding power, the power of understanding or the intelligence is there, then only all these things can happen. Mantras become united in the name, the rites in the mantras, everything becomes like that. Only when you understand all these things. Is what he said, the power of understanding. So, here, capacity to understand, or it is also known as capacity to understand means memory. It's also there. So, intelligence, capacity to understand, memory, all are same. If I learn something, if I don't remember, if I don't have a capacity to understand, if I don't have an intelligence to use it, in order to use it, I have to memorize. The memory should be there. The memory is not there. How will you use it? As I told you, this memory comes. Memory in the sense here, it is not the memory of memorizing, as I told you, memorizing a particular shloka or a chapter or some names. Here the memory is chittam. That's why it has got a different name. Chittam, they said. Chittam itself is that which absorbs the jnanam which is being imparted to you by the Guru, by the Shastra, the Shastras. That which has been perceived by you, and that perceived jnanam is utilized by a particular kind of intelligence from the storage of the jnanam that is there, which is we call it as memory. Due to the power of understanding, this has all happened, is called chittam. The one who has caught chittam, what happens? Chidananda Rupaya Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupaya Shivoham Shivoham. Chittam will come to the Ananda Rupa. When it comes to the Ananda, then I become the Shiva. That means when I have all these jnanam in my memory, in the sense when I have jnanam in the chittam, in my preservation, when it is preserved there, possessed there. So when will I have the chittam? It is absolute Brahmajnanam when I have in chittam. Automatically what happens? The intelligence, it is an agent which is activating this jnanam from the chittam to the, for all the activities that is supposed to take place in the jiva through the intelligence. He utilizes where what has to be, how has to be used. But as I told you, even though there is swadharma in that, but there should not be a violation of the, even though we are doing the swadharma, even though there is a swadharma in it, there should not be a violation of sanatana dharma. Should remember all this. There is no violation of the sanatana dharma. So even though intelligence is identifying chittam, intelligence is identifying the memories that has been stored for various purposes, various ways, okay, there should not be violation to sanatana dharma. Bhagavan Krishna, in the rupa of the human being, executing particular karmas, it appears to be executing karmas, he is not doing anything. It happens. That's what Bhagavan also said. I am not doing anything. The principle of that I will not carry a weapon when there is a fight going on is the indication or understanding that we have to know that he doesn't carry anything physically and materialistically in order to execute a karma, in order to establish dharma. He says, I will present myself. If you want. Physically, I will be there. Not only I will be there, I will be the charioteer for you. What does it mean? When I am present there, I cannot be standing there. I am the guide. I will the one who will take you to here and there. That's why chariot. These are all symbolic. We have to draw that inference from that. So, I will be personally there. That means Bhagavan himself is not that connected with the physical body, or he doesn't do the swadharma karma, sokarma in violation with the sanatana dharma. If chittam of Bhagavan, that means who has attained the saturation point of everything and have no emotions, no attachment, nothing like that, why he should have a weapon in order to destroy the adharma? His sankalpa itself is good enough in order to destroy the adharma. That's all. So he doesn't need a ayudha for that. An ayudha is not necessary. Is why he indicated to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, but you have to take ayudha. Why? Because it is your karma. Since you have to take ayudha, since you have to maintain swadharma in relationship with the Sanatana Dharma, because utility of any ayudham, what happens? You get emotionally attached to that and you may take a wrong decision because you will have an instinct of destruction. Here the purpose of yuddha, I am calling you for the yuddha, I am deputing you for yuddha with the ayudha that you have, shastra. Shastra you have, ayudha you have, is not meant for killing but for creating. Not creating, protecting. Okay. Creations, creating or protecting. There is two different purposes. One is for destruction, you are using an ayudha. Another is for protection, you are using the ayudha. But what happens? In normal cases, in a normal human being with a normal intelligence who has got attachment to the attachment, desire and the emotions in him, while using an ayudha, he will become emotionally attracted and attached. Then instead of protection, he will be doing destruction. Do you understand? Yes. Here what happens? Even though he is shooting arrows to Bhishma, Pitamaha, whom he regarded and respected as a great grandfather and a great teacher, loving, caring and all that, he regarded him, whatever it is, whether it was good or bad. He regarded him. So, to shoot an arrow on him, if it is in a destructive mode, he will not be able to do it. Alright? Because he doesn't want to kill him. If his jnanam is there and if it is along with the swadharma, is aligned with the Sanatana Dharma, then he can easily shoot an arrow at Bhishma because he is not killing Bhishma Pitamaha. He is killing the Bhishma who is siding the adharmam. He may be anybody. He may be a great personality. He may be any responsible person. The one who is siding with the adharma, he may have so many qualifications. If he has got so many qualifications, why did he side? He has got independent power. I'm a little deviating. Is it okay? When I told about memory, I think let it go now. I'm deviating from the original path, but I think this will assimilate your knowledge to put it together. Bhishma had enormous capacity of, he once told, even when Duryodhana told Bhishma to be the commander-in-chief of the army of him, this fellow is wicked, this Duryodhana fellow. So he goes and instigates it. Bhishma Pitamaha, you are a great warrior. You know all the vidyas. Is there an army necessary if you decide to destroy Pandavas and their army? Do you really need a war for that? Do we have to employ this person? He said, no, I can do it alone. Not only that, hey Duryodhana, you have got a sena, great sena of so many, he has got a lot of people who have got tremendous capacities with them, who can disguise themselves and Asura Vidya and things like that. Everybody has got their own capacities. All those senas also come together 24 hours time, 24 hours time, I can destroy all of them alone. There is a capacity. I can do it. So he is actually. So he asked him, how many days, suppose I employ you, I request you to do the destruction of the complete army of everybody, in order to win that, How many days do you think you would take? He wanted to assess how many days of war has to be done. This fellow is very intelligent. Crooks are always very intelligent, because they have to use all this now. As he wanted to ask, how many days, Bishop Bhishma Pitamaha, how many days should I declare war for? And all that. He will not say, go to hell. He will not tell that. So he put like this. And he says that 10 days I will kill them all. Finished. Nobody will be there. I got Ichamurti, nobody can stop me also. He got the idea from that. Then he says, hey Pitamaha, if that is the case, why don't you be the commander of my army? A man, why I said that, forget, this is a long story, it goes on like that. Why did I say this? Is that a man who has got all these capacities, who has got not, he's just not boasting. He has capacity. Bhishma has enormous capacities. He's not boasting. He has done it number of times also. He has proven that. He's proved it. It's not that. He has. So, a man who has got all these capacities, now imagine, if he is siding with adharma, how will you justify his personality? He said, ये सब हम कर सकते हैं, नहीं करेंगे. I will not do it. Even after having enormous capacities in a person, if he is not utilizing it for establishing dharmam, he is a sinner. He is doing adharma. Is why I said that Swadharma should be in relation with the Sanatana Dharma. His Swadharma was only his ego that I did a vow. I will stuck with his Vani which has come out of for what? For a very petty, according to the general, when you compare to the universe, peace in the universe, it's a petty, personal, absolutely personal, individual requirement. Not for any betterment of the universe. For that he has did a promise and he wanted to stick to that Vani and he sided with the adharma. Understood? So it is not with the purpose of the maintenance of the Sanatana Dharma. Is why I told in the beginning that even if a personality is so many qualified, so much of qualities are there, so many these things are there, so many those things are there, but if he is sided with the adharma, he is violating the Sanatana Dharma, and the man who violates the Sanatana Dharma, he will be forced to have the patana. He may bring the patana himself. Bhishma brought his own patana down. He only told, bring Shikhandi in front of me. I will not take either. You can kill me then. You can arrow and then I will die. He brought his own death. No doubt. Such adharmis will bring their own death. So Arjuna, suppose if he is taking the ayudha, and if he is misguided that he is Pitamaha, he will never be able to do it. So in order to do that, what happens? He needs the jnanam in order to retain the Swadharmam. So Swadharmam should be based on the non-violation and complementary to the Sanatana Dharma, Prakriti Niyama. There cannot be a change in that. And along with that, how can one do it? Only based on the jnanam, Brahma jnanam, Brahma Tattvam. For that, it is necessary, first of all, the grace is necessary. Somebody, a charioteer like Bhagavan Krishna has to be there. Not an ordinary Sarathi. Bhagavan has to guide us. Bhagavan should be the Sarathi for us. If we want Bhagavan to be our Sarathi, we have to maintain that principle of Brahma Tattvam in us, in our Swadharma, so Bhagavan will be our Sarathi. Arjuna need not to fight with an intelligence, in order to win. Bhagavan will make him fight to establish Dharmam, Swadharmam as well as the Sanatana Dharmam. Otherwise Arjuna would be sticking there. What are you talking? He will nowhere be there. Karna will finish him. Bhishma can finish him. Dronacharya can finish him. Anybody can do that. See, it's not easy. Duryodhana cannot do it, others cannot. But there are people who can do it. Unless there is Sarthi. Same way what happens, you may be any valuer for that matter. You may be any efficient person for that matter. You may be very intelligent for that matter. You may have everything. You may have all the Shastras and Vedas in you, but still you will have to have the Kataksha of the Adi Shankaracharya. Great incarnation of the God himself. He written all the guidelines. He himself says that these are all Shankara Bhashyam. He has written. The Shankara Bhashyam is a guideline, Shreni, for the purpose of attainment of the Brahmatuttam Brahmacharya, but you have to attain it yourself. You have to follow this. Therefore, such a person who could write all this, who could assimilate the Vedas, no, and who can write, add it, which were all loose, the pages were lost. You know that I have told the story. So many pages were lost of Vedas now. He rewritten of them, added to them, like that, a person like that. And he also, he used to do tapasya and he used to do pray to the Lord, because the grace, I told you about what are the three things I told?
Pratishtha, grace and
Faith, pratishtha, faith and
grace.
Grace is necessary. They are, because in order to have and retain the the jnanam in you, these faculties are required. Because with our own this cannot sustain. How will you remember all the 4 Vedas? There are acharyas who just recites Vedas. How? It's not through the mana, it's not through the small memories, cells of the brain, what the doctors and scientists have explained. No. Not that. It is, you are merging with the Prakriti, you become one with the Prakriti, and the knowledge in the Prakriti and you become one, and a flow from the Prakriti incessantly takes place, is why these words are coming. Otherwise not learned from any school, not learned from anybody. How otherwise one can deliver these jnana? Bhagavad jnana is not learned and told, it is not possible. Nobody can do it. It is not that nuclear summit, secretaries will write a paper and Prime Minister will read it in the United Nations Sabha. No, this is not that. It should come from him. That's how it is able to explain his why. Merging with that. So this is called the memory. If you ask me what did I speak 5 minutes back, that's a physical attainment of the memory. You understood? It's not possible. But what was that spoken? From the universal memory. From Bhagavad Sakshatkar. That's why an embodiment of the Lord. Embodiment of the jnanam, they said, I hope you can understand. Anybody can understand. Is it possible to contain all this? There has to be a direct link, no? Because I am not speaking, I am not thinking, I am not doing. I means the one who is speaking, whoever it is. That is connected with that source. No? That's how it is. It's called the memory. Why did I say all this? To tell you what you call as memory is this. So if you think that you can contain in this small fashion world, where the ramp is very small, that is absolutely wrong. There, in that world, the ramp is broad. Any walking you do will be a fashion walking. Also. Any walking you do. You don't have to walk fashionably. The walk becomes fashion. Okay. These are all my unwanted some sort of entertainment to the manner. That's all. Maybe to you also. I think you won't remember everything if I tell today, no? So let the memory, we will postpone it for next class. It's better. Alright? Shambho, Mahadeva, Ishuru, Raksha.